I'm so full of rage and I need some advice. I, 30 male, and my wife, 27 female, own a sizable farm that is usually the nexus of family events. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 300 acres and electrical hookups for 4 campers so the whole clan can come stay for extended visits in the summer. We built it that way deliberately. My cousin Bill, male 50, has a daughter Alice, 18, female, from his first marriage. His first wife was an immigrant with no family in our country and no contact with any family in her home country. She passed away when Alice was 2, and Bill remarried Tanya, female 52, 6 months later. They have since had 3 kids, 14 male, 12 male, and 8 female. Alice is a brat. Everything in their house revolves around either the boys or their princess, and Alice is left behind. She doesn't get to go on family trips. They wouldn't pay for extracurricular stuff. She couldn't take elective classes that had extra fees, etc. I'm not a smart man, but I can recognize a kid that's hurting inside and being neglected. She's like Mr. Hyde with them and Dr. Jekyll elsewhere. For the last 4 summers, she's been coming to work on my farm because her parents don't want her around over summer break. She turned 18 recently, and leading up to her birthday, her dad was very adamant that she was being kicked out of the house when she turned 18 because it will teach her responsibility. We, wife, Alice, and I discussed it, and early on her birthday, we pulled up with my truck and packed her stuff up. We only packed things she purchased herself or things that were given to her by another person. My boss got creative with our benefits provider so we can get Alice on my medical benefits until she finishes university. She starts in a few weeks, so she's able to go to therapy. He reads this subreddit a lot, so even though this is a throwaway, I know you'll read this, Chief. Thank you, and she's able to get back into sports while still saving her money. This is where it all comes apart. Bill and Tanya are pissed that we took her in and refused to come to family events. Part of the family refuses to attend as well because I'm undermining Bill and Tanya. I'll understand when I have kids. After they refused to attend events, a few others said that with gas being so expensive and not everyone attending, they'd skip as well. My answer of, okie dokie, come if you want and don't if you don't, further upset people who thought I should have tried harder to get people to come, so now we're down to about 1/4 of the family in attendance for events. My aunt suggested that we have Alice over on weekends and that she stays in a dorm during the week to smooth things over. I think that's dumb, but I'm dumb and stubborn. My wife thinks it's dumb and she's really smart, but also very much attached to the situation. Alice said she'd rather stay with us but would try the dorms to help make peace. Am I the idiot for not going with the dorm suggestion to keep the peace? Edit for info. I called Alice a brat, and my original post was way past the character limit, but in some of the stuff that got pared down, I explained it more. Typical teenage acting out, but cranked up. Slamming doors, screaming matches with her stepmom, swearing. Probably 3 or 4 big blowouts a week, and sometimes over some pretty disproportionately small stuff. I've watched her grow, and the acting out definitely came after the exclusion from family stuff. Edit 2. Thank you, everyone. Gonna keep on keeping on. Bit of a mini update. I ripped the Band-Aid off with the old fam jam and told them that fewer mouths to feed isn't the punishment they thought it was. Anyone else who was coming is still welcome, and I'd have the extra cash from not feeding so many people to help the folks concerned about gas prices make it out if they so choose. I'm in like 4 different family group chats and they're all lighting up. I'm going to turn my phone on silent for a while and let the sparks fly. I'll check in on the post in a while, and if anything noteworthy comes up and it's interesting, I'll give you all an update in the future. Edit 3. Alrighty, here's the update on the situation and a little background info for some consistent topics in the comments. So, my family likes to gossip and they're damn efficient at it. If your truck breaks down with only you in it 5 miles from home, word has reached every aunt and cousin before you're in your door. When I put the word out, it traveled fast. This morning I've been called all the names in the book and some new ones, so there may be a revised and updated edition of said book coming out. I've been told I'm a good guy, a bad guy, I'm stupid, I'm smart, I'm short-sighted, I'm thinking ahead. It's been neat. Long story short, I've got about a dozen relatives telling me thanks and they'll buy me a pint next time they're out, and about triple that who never want to speak to me again, so those are both significant victories. Now, nobody here really cares about me. We're all about Team Alice here. She's a Redditor apparently and came across the post independently of me showing her. There were tears, born of stress and relief, I think, and she's going to be staying here with us until she's ready to start the next chapter of her life, whatever and whenever that might be. She's got classes picked. Her college picks first-year classes for you for the most part, so it was a couple electives, and is looking into the Women's Rest League for a hockey team when the season starts, so she's all set on that front. Regarding feeding everyone and paying for gas, without going into details, I was very fortunate as a young man to be working very, very hard at a job I was woefully underqualified for while a very wealthy person was on site. Basically the right place, right time, and the chief took me in and mentored me. We have made a lot of money on a business venture together in addition to me working for him, and since then, I haven't exactly had FU money, but enough that I was able to buy the property I live on outright and build my home here with my wife, who also makes good money. Family is important to both of us, and neither of our sides of the family tree have much for money, so we've done our best to make sure money isn't a barrier to getting together and seeing one another. Now, the big news. Tanya drove down to my house this morning. Bill and I had some very loud, very angry words when he drove down last night after I chose the nuclear option in the family group chats, so she actually waved a white flag from her car when she pulled up. I shooed the dogs and alpaca away and went out to talk to her, brought her out a muffin, and we had a bit of a chat. Allegedly, Bill was threatening to kick Alice out to scare her straight, and that they weren't actually going to kick her out, and they were caught off guard when we showed up on the morning of her birthday. I told her that she was missing the point and that I'm not sure I could use small enough words or short enough sentences to explain it to her if she thought that was the only problem. She cried. She peeled out of my driveway at Mach 7, and it's been radio silent since, which I'm currently enjoying. I know that was long, but now here's a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. They mistreated her for years, kicked her out of the house, and now they want to demand that you kick her out too. Horrible people, and you shouldn't think twice about the dorm unless Alice actually wants that. Then the original poster responded with, in our conversations about the dorm, I told her that it was 100% her decision, but that I really didn't care about cousins. I only see when I'm feeding them show up, and that I wanted her to make the call that made her happy. Consensus between her and my wife seems to be that maybe in a few years the dorm would be a good step between living at home and getting her own place, but staying with us for now is what she wants. Comment 2. You call yourself dumb, but you have a grasp of nuance that a great deal of your family lacks. The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde comparison proves it. You understand her position and the cause for her undesirable behaviors. You understand the unfairness of her treatment and the failures of her parents. You also have the courage to stand up for her and to stand up against your family. I think you're aware of how many people lack that. They live in this subreddit and many others. You also have the heart to care. You're doing the right thing. Everyone who has a problem with it is a problem, and that's not on you to solve. What your aunt suggested is quite literally your family trying to manipulate 3 adults because they are immature and controlling. Her living there affects no one beyond their own self-absorbed mental inner world. I hope she makes great strides with you both and has a blast in college. Not the idiot. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You know for sure that Bill won't kick the younger ones out to teach them some responsibility. I would tell your family members that they looked the other way while Bill neglected her for 16 years. They can damn well look the other way when you're not neglecting her. And for shits and giggles, tell them Alice will inherit your place if you don't have kids. Then the original poster responded with, you're dead right on that. Their other kids aren't bad kids and I don't begrudge them, but as rotten as Bill and Tanya are to Alice, they're great with the other 3. It's the weirdest dynamic I've ever seen in my life. Now, for the update. And if you're enjoying the video, hit that like button. The good. A year later, she's a year into an engineering degree. She's been playing lots of hockey, raised a couple of steers all on her own, and at her therapist's recommendation, she's down to monthly sessions after a brief stop at bi-weekly after starting with weekly. She's the same sweet kid, but without the extra unneeded stress of being treated like an also-ran alongside her younger siblings. The bad. Her dad showed up about a month after my original post, and there was a confrontation of sorts that ended with a peace bond being issued with restrictions on how Bill and Tanya could contact Alice, myself, my missus, or a couple other family members that got involved. After the 6 months required by the peace bond, Tanya started getting back up to her old tricks, but Bill seems to have smartened up a bit. The peace bond meant she has had limited contact with her siblings, which has been tough. The oldest, male 15, started out pretty hostile, but some of the other cousins filled him in on what was going on. I got blamed for his sudden shift in attitude because we've established that I am just the worst with jazz hands and everything. The silly, gossipy family mellowed out when they realized that the literal gravy train wasn't going to stop at the station for them. Thanksgiving last year was 26 people compared to the 60-plus that came the last year I threw it prior to COVID restrictions. Easter this year was back up to an even 40, so we're probably going to plateau a little short of the old numbers. As for resolution to the problem, Bill has been texting Alice every couple of days to check in. They've gone for coffee a few times after the peace bond expired. I'd go to his funeral, but not his birthday party, were Alice's words when I asked her about where they're at. I'm hoping time can heal that wound, but she's been really good at setting boundaries. To quote one of the great warrior poets of our time, John Cougar Mellencamp, life goes on. I'll answer questions if it's allowed. Otherwise, here's some closure, guys. Now, for the final comments. Comment 1. These are the stories that restore my faith in humanity. You and your wife are seriously good people and should not have had to endure the criticism from the extended family. As someone else pointed out on the other post, Bill and Tanya just didn't want their mistreatment of Alice to be exposed by her behaving after being treated like an actual human being. Alice is going to triumph over this because of you. The world is a better place with you in it. Comment 2. I think you have been an exceptional cousin and surrogate uncle to Alice, supporting her and helping her thrive. Tanya and Bill seem like fools who thought throwing or threatening to throw Alice puts would serve as tough love rather than teach that her parents' love was conditional, unequal, and arbitrary. Then the original poster responded with, "Yeah, the two of them are a bit of mustard shy of a sandwich sometimes. They've sworn up and down that they weren't actually going to kick her out and that it was meant to smarten her up and stuff like that, but whether or not they're lying is for someone who cares more about it to figure out. Kiddo's safe and sound. That's what matters." Comment 3. And let's not forget kudos for OP's boss, Chief. Because of his efforts, Alice has health insurance. She has that peace of mind. Then the original poster responded with, "Yeah, he's been a big source of support through all of this. Getting her on the company health benefits plan meant she got to avoid the long wait lists of the public system to get into a predominantly private practice." If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.